Out of all the ways I save money, there are a few that could be considered silly or downright embarrassing. But whatever I want to call them, there's no denying that they've proven to be effective for me. These are things I've been doing for years in some cases, and a few of them I've even gotten as ideas from comments on previous videos. So today I wanted to share a list of shameless ways I save money with the hope that you can get some value from it and maybe implement some of these into your own money saving routines. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here we talk about minimalism, frugal living, tech, and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you and you end up liking the video, be sure to like and please have Khonshu haunt the subscribe button. Let's get started. Don't be afraid to make returns. Making returns on purchases is something I paid no attention to at one point. Every time I made a purchase I regretted, I usually just bit the bullet and took the financial hit no matter the cost. And honestly, I'm sure this is exactly what companies hope will happen. People making purchases and then overall the entire return policy being just complicated enough or inconvenient enough for people to actually go and do it. But how actually making returns got started for me began with clothes and then eventually groceries. I know I'm 100% going to get judged for this, but there have been a few times where I've made a purchase on formal clothing for a one-time event with the intention of returning them as soon as the event is over, like leaving the tags on it and everything. And if you don't think I'm disgusting yet, my most recent pair of jeans I wore with the tag on it for about a week to just be absolutely positive I wanted to keep them and not return them. And when it comes to grocery stores, there have definitely been a few times where something I buy on a regular basis just didn't taste right. And while before I just couldn't be bothered to go out and make the return, I will now absolutely hold that product to make the return on my next eventual trip. I think overall the point here is to have just a bit of higher standards when making purchases, hold on to the receipt a little bit, and just remember that returns exist for that reason. Use free items. I really just have so many examples of free items that I use that it's impossible to not at least relate to this on some level. These examples are literally things as small as getting a free water refill if I'm already at a place where I'm eating, reusing plastic bags for the garbage bin in my car, or more usefully, the cat litter while they watch me clean it as if I'm their peasant. I always keep napkins in my car and obviously we use them at home. So if I have the chance to grab a small stack to replenish, I usually will. There's definitely a fine line here because it's so easy to take more than you need. But overall, taking advantage of these free items has definitely been useful for me in my own routines. Ask for price matching. In my experience, price matching is something that most places will honor. Of course, this requires a little bit of shopping around, but will usually result in finding the best price. While I haven't actually done this myself, I heard that if something goes on sale shortly after you've made a purchase, you can be reimbursed that difference in some cases. And now that I think about it, my car was actually listed for $1,000 cheaper online than when I showed up to the dealership when I got it. I mentioned that to them and with literally zero resistance, they matched the price online. So at the very least, it's worth trying. This is rather situational, but I do highly recommend shopping around to find the best prices and then consider asking for a price match if the opportunity presents itself. Shop the clearance groceries. I most certainly am not able to get away with a lot of grocery shopping this way, but it's something I still do and I think is worth trying out. A lot of grocery stores, I know Walmart bakery for sure, and I'm pretty sure Ralph's too, have a small section of bakery items that are like a day or so from expiring. Usually the baked goods and bread. Sometimes these items can be literally 50 cents for an entire loaf of bread. And yes, while they're typically a day or so from going bad, I freeze my bread anyways, taking pieces as needed and extending its shelf life. That's just the baked goods example. And I know grocery stores will even put clearance stickers on damaged boxes, and sometimes will have a section of the store dedicated to items like this. Don't get me wrong, I don't spend the entire grocery shopping session buying off shelves like this, but I definitely have been able to save a few dollars each trip finding some goods here. Wearing the same outfits daily. And falling hand in hand with minimalism is the fact that I wear the same thing almost every single day, especially to work. There was a time I was a little worried that people would notice, but to think people actually care about that is a little silly. I now shamelessly wear the same pants and shirts on most days, I'll admit. In my early 20s, I cared way too much about this kind of thing, and now that I'm 30 and have gray hairs showing up everywhere, it's just not something I'm concerning myself with. I've easily gotten a few years already out of these black jeans I got from Target for like $30. And I've gone into the benefits of wearing the same outfit in minimalism wardrobe videos. But this really saves money with the simple idea of not having to diversify my clothes just to show people I have other clothes. Overall, wearing the same thing every day, or mostly every day, might actually be one of the most effective ways I shamelessly save a little bit of money. Loophole living. In videos in the past, I've talked about how I've made email addresses specifically dedicated to junk mail. This is that, but just on another level. Loophole living to me is taking advantage of things like sign-up bonuses, referrals, or free trials by literally referring yourself, or using a new email address for something like a discount off a purchase for signing up to a mailing list. I've signed up for free trials for streaming services for shows I wanted to watch, binge the shows, and then cancel the service before ever having to make a payment. And while sometimes you have to verify emails to actually get this free trial, there are sites out there that let you have a temporary email address to send and receive messages to bypass this. Most companies expect people to forget about free trials, sign up without checking for discounts, and overpay just because it's easier. But if you're willing to put in a little effort, you can keep cycling through deals, stacking discounts, and getting freebies indefinitely, all without spending extra money. Stop being too proud. Now, I know this isn't a tangible, literal thing to be done, but it definitely affects every earlier point on this list. I know from past experiences, pride has made me spend more than I should have because I was afraid of looking too cheap, and that being smart with money doesn't equal being cheap. I know that at one point in the past, my pride would have stopped me from admitting that I wear the same thing almost every single day, and that I will occasionally leave tags on clothes for a week to decide if I want to return them or not. And I could probably make an entire video explaining how my appearance and clothing used to be one of my most detrimental spending habits. But in the end, I believe not having too much pride in order to save money in itself is something to be proud of. Anyways, these were a few shameless, albeit effective ways I've been saving money. I totally get these might not be for everyone, but I do hope at least one or two of these things can be effective for you. And just overall, I hope you found some of them useful. As always, I appreciate the time you spent here and I appreciate you watching. If you did like this video and you like this type of content, be sure to like and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.